Hi guys, this is Connie, back for more Connie Reads The River. We're on chapter 14. He had noticed it before, of course, when they went over the map in his house and when they had first landed. But in the largeness of the country shown on the map, the massive forest the map showed, the river was a small thing, and he had negated it. It wound out the bottom of the lake, the southern end, and headed southeast down into the lakes below and was lost. And he had not followed it except to note the name, the Necktie River. "Isn't that a funny name?" his mother had said, and Derek had laughed. There are lakes named Eunice or Bootsock. There are so many lakes and rivers, the original map makers just make up names as they went. Just made up names as they went. The person drawing the map was probably wearing a tie and thought it would make a good name. Many of them aren't named at all, just numbered. The Necktie River, Brian saw, led south and down and drew his eyes away from the lake. The map was laid out in square 5,000-meter grids, 5-kilometer squares. And he saw that in some places the river wound back almost on itself inside the same 5,000 square meters. But in other places it ran straight for a considerable distance, and he followed it, through smaller lakes and what he thought must be swamps, through the darker green portions that meant heavier forest. It kept going south to the edge of the map, where it was folded, and he unfolded the next section and spread it in the sun. He did not know why the river drew him, pulled at him. Then, halfway through the second page, he saw it. The river had grown all along, gotten wider so that it made a respectable blue cut across the map, and where it made a large bend, cutting back nearly straight east. There was a small circle drawn, and the words, Brennock Trading Post. Leading away from Brennock's post, there was a double line headed down and to the southwest. When he found the symbol for the double line on the map's legend, he saw that stood for an improved gravel road. There would be people there. Right there, on the map, at Brannock's trading post, there would be people. They wouldn't have a road or name the place. They wouldn't have a road or name the place or make it a dot on the map unless there were people there. A trading post would have people. Which, Brian thought, doesn't mean a thing. He wasn't at Brannock's trading post. He was here. Yet he couldn't take his eyes off the spot on the map. It was there, on the same map, just there. And he refolded the map so it would show the lake where they were and the trading post at the same time. He used his fingers to make a divider and measured it straight down, but it didn't mean anything. Then he remembered that the grids stood for 5 kilometers each, and when he counted the numbers of grid between the lake and Brannock's, he came up with about 16 squares. "So how far is that?" he said to Derek. 5 times 16, maybe 85 kilometers? But that was straight, in a straight line southeast. The river was nowhere near straight, looping back and forth and actually flowing slightly north back along itself at one point. He started counting, measuring the river as it turned through each 5-kilometer square, marking each 10 kilometers in the dirt with a line through it. Then the next set of 10. It was involved, and took him some time, but finally he was done. He counted them. 150 kilometers, he said. 1.6 kilometers to a mile, just under 100 miles. He looked at Derek, who did not move, who made no sign. There are people just under 100 miles from here, but what good did that do? Here it is. I could leave you and try to follow the river out and bring help back, which, he thought, sounded insane. There were animals. They would come, and if they thought Derek was dead, he was defenseless. They might attack him, even eat him, even small things. Ants, bugs. I can't leave you. Brian looked at the map again. It was there. The answer was there. Brannock's trading post was the answer, and the river was the answer, but he didn't see how. He couldn't leave Derek. He couldn't leave Derek. What if he took Derek with him? He said it out loud. What if we went out together. On the face of it, it sounded like madness. Haul a man in a coma nearly 100 miles out of the wilderness on a river? You could say that, Brian thought, but there was a lot of difference between saying it and doing it. How could he? The river. If he had a boat. Or a raft. If he made a raft and put Derek on the raft, there might be a way he could make the run and take Derek out, get him to the trading post, and to help. And even as he said it, he knew it was crazy. 100 miles on a wilderness river with a raft, hauling a grown man who would be nothing but dead weight, was impossible. He would have dropped it, except that he looked up from the map and saw the truth then. Looked up and saw Derek with his eyes half open and not seeing. Awake, but not truly living. The minutes of his life were moving past, and Brian knew that he really didn't have any choice. If he stayed, Derek would die of thirst in 2, perhaps 3 days, well before the week or 10 days that would pass before the pilot came looking to see what happened. If he stayed, Derek would die. If he made the run, took Derek down the river, at least there was a chance. He had no choice. And that's the end of chapter 14. Wow. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you, and I will see you for the next chapter.